Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Monday, April the 29th. We got a two-game NBA slate today, and I'm pretty sure for the rest of the postseason, all the NBA slates are going to be either two-game slates or like showdowns. So they're going to be short slates the rest of the season, but you guys still have seemed to enjoy the NBA videos. DraftKings is still putting out huge contests, 400K tournament I believe they're running tomorrow. $15 tournament, 400K total prize with 100K to first. So it seems like everyone's still playing NBA and still seeming to enjoy it. I've been playing it, been having some success. So I figured I'm going to keep making NBA videos till the postseason ends, especially since you guys seem to enjoy them. So like always, we'll go through each position, talk about some of the guys I'll be looking at for this two-game slate. We will work our way through the player pool, and then I will give my 5 plays for DraftKings and 5 plays for Yahoo. These are 5 players that I do specifically like for each site. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of our new videos. But let's go ahead and look at point guard today. So Damian Lillard is our most expensive option at point guard. He is $9,200 on DraftKings. I do like Lillard here. I don't like him more than Jokic, just looking at the slate overall. Jokic is my favorite guy to pay up for, and he is $10K. But looking at some of the other $9K plays, I think Joel Embiid is not as good of a play as Lillard. I would prefer Lillard. I think I would prefer Lillard over Kawhi Leonard, even though Kawhi was great in Game 1 of this series and played really well, and I expect Kawhi to get a lot of ownership. I still really like Damian Lillard here. He didn't do that well during the regular season against Denver. He actually struggled quite a bit against Denver. I don't think that's going to continue here in the playoffs. I expect Lillard to play very well throughout this series and expect him to play very well in Game 1. So I do like paying up at point guard for Lillard if you can, but I am going to try and prioritize Jokic at center and trying to pay up for him. And that's going to make it tough to fit Lillard and Jokic together. Point guard actually has some pretty good mid-range plays if you don't want to get up to Lillard. I think Jamal Murray at 6,500 clearly stands out as probably the better mid-range play, either him or Kyle Lowry. Ben Simmons at 7,700, definitely a guy you could look to on DraftKings with that price tag. If we go over to Yahoo, though, Lillard's probably the clear option here if you can pay up. If not, Jamal Murray at $26 or Lowry at $29 make a ton of sense. I don't think I want to go to Ben Simmons on Yahoo. He's 43, Lillard's 46. I would just rather play Lillard. But on DraftKings, you do get $1,500 in savings going down from Lillard to Simmons, so you could definitely look to do that. But let's go ahead and talk about some shooting guard plays. So at shooting guard, I like going cheap here. I really like Gary Harris on this slate. He's $4,900 on DraftKings, very cheap. On Yahoo, he's at $18. I think he's a good play over here as well. I expect Gary Harris to have a lot of success in this series. I expect him to play pretty big minutes, because they're going to need his defense to defend guys like C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. I imagine Harris is going to be the primary defender on Damian Lillard, so he's probably going to be playing like 38 to 40 minutes a night. He was playing those kind of minutes during the San Antonio series, was putting up pretty consistent fantasy outings, about over 20 DraftKings points seemed like every game in that series. On these playoff slates where there's not a ton of great value, you don't really need your cheap value plays to go off for like 7, 8x to have a winning score. If you get 25, 26, 27 DK points out of Harris, that could definitely be good enough on a two-game slate. So at 4,900, I think he is a good shooting guard cheap play if you want to go to him. I also think Torrey Craig is going to be looking at some pretty big minutes throughout this series because he is a pretty good defender. I imagine he guards either C.J. McCollum or Lillard if they put Harris on Lillard, or they put Harris on McCollum, whichever one. Craig will probably be defend the opposite of Harris. So Torrey Craig should be playing huge minutes throughout this series. And at 4,100, he's a value play you could look to, but I would try and get up to Harris. I think Harris, when it comes to fantasy, is just more productive than Torrey Craig is. But talking about small forward plays, at this position, obviously, if you can get up to Kawhi Leonard, he makes a ton of sense, but there is some value that I like at small forward and power forward. Both from Portland, I think Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Amino are really good value plays. Harkless is only 4,500 on DraftKings. And he was pretty good throughout the OKC series. He had some pretty good fantasy outings. 29 DK points. In one game, had 39 against OKC. I think that was Game 4. Game 5, he had 28 DK points. Harkless is a guy that can give you consistent outings, can give you 25, 30 DraftKings points. Where he's 4,500 on DK, he does stand out quite a bit as a small forward value play. If we go over to Yahoo, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be paying up for Kawhi Leonard here, but I don't think you have to because you do have Harkless at $19. You got Torrey Craig at $13. Both guys make sense as value plays. I like Harkless quite a bit at 19 on Yahoo. On DraftKings at 4,500, I think he is a good value play as well. I could easily see him scoring 30 DraftKings points and paying off that $4,500 price tag. And then Al-Farouq Aminu, another guy that I like at 4,300. I think if Enes Kanter sits this game, that's going to really benefit Al-Farouq Aminu because I don't know who Portland plans on using to defend Jokic if Kanter's unable to play. They might put Myers Leonard on him. They might put Zach Collins on him. But we could see Aminu playing some center in this game and defending Jokic, which should lead to him probably being more productive, able to grab more rebounds, just going to be playing more minutes overall. He's a guy that can give you a double-double, can give you 30 DraftKings points as well. Kind of similar to Harkless. He's not a guy that usually goes out there and scores like 50 DK points, but at 4,300, you don't need him to score 50 DK points, especially not on a two-game slate. So I like Aminu quite a bit on both sites. He's 18 over here on Yahoo. Pretty good value as well, in my opinion. Obviously, though, if you don't want to go cheap here, you could pay it for a Kawhi, or you could go to a guy like Ben Simmons. Talking about Tobias Harris, I think he's a really good play on DraftKings. He's 7,200. I think he makes a ton of sense especially if you're looking for a pivot off of Ben Simmons, because I imagine since Harris and Simmons are so closely priced on DraftKings, a lot of people are going to look to Ben Simmons. But Tobias Harris was kind of one of the bright spots in that game 1 against Toronto. He put up 43 DraftKings points, had 14, 15, and 6. He played 38 minutes as well, took 17 shots. I expect his minutes to be kind of a bit higher than they were like during the Brooklyn series. He was playing about 36 minutes in that series. I expect him to be playing closer to 40 minutes, especially with Mike Scott out for game 1, and he was out for game 1. He's going to be out for game 2 as well. Mike Scott being out should give Tobias Harris a couple more minutes. It's the playoffs, so these guys are going to be playing huge minutes on a nightly basis. These teams are going to be running very thin rotations. So I do like Tobias Harris quite a bit. If we go over to Yahoo, I think he's a great play over here. He's 31 at power forward. Compare him to like Ben Simmons, who's 43 at point guard. Tobias Harris definitely stands out for $12 cheaper. On DraftKings, I think a lot of people are going to play Simmons over Harris because they're so closely priced. You could obviously play both of them if you wanted to because of how cheap Simmons is. There's a good chance you get 40, 45 DK points out of Simmons and about the same out of Harris, and both guys wind up being good plays. But if we're just talking straight up, I think Harris for 500 less, when you factor in what his ownership is going to be compared to Simmons, I think he stands out quite a bit. But let's go ahead and talk about some power forwards real quickly before we move to center. So at power forward, this is kind of a position where you just got the guys I've talked about. You could pay it for a Kawhi. You could look to a guy like Siakam, but I would rather play Tobias Harris. And then if you need cheap plays, Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu are both eligible at power forward, and both of them are good value plays under 5K. I would rather play Harkless over like Millsap and Ibaka. I'd rather play Harkless and Aminu over both of those two guys. Zach Collins potentially could be one of the best value plays on the slate. He's only 2,900 on DraftKings. Right now, Enes Kanter is questionable for this game. If Enes Kanter is out, I imagine Zach Collins draws the start. He's probably going to wind up playing about 26, 27 minutes. I don't think he's going to play like 40 minutes. But if Kanter's out, that's going to free up plenty of minutes for Collins. He's so cheap that even if he plays 25, 26 minutes, could give you 30 DraftKings points and be a really good value play. So keep your eye on that Kanter news. If he's out, Zach Collins probably will be the biggest beneficiary if that were to happen. But now talking about the center position, I really like the top of this position. I like Nikola Jokic quite a bit. 10K on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's at 51. He's one of my favorite spend-up plays on this two-game slate. He's a guy that I definitely want to try and spend up for. Such a good matchup for him, whether Portland decides to put Enes Kanter on him. If Enes Kanter is able to play, that's a great matchup for Jokic. Enes Kanter is a terrible defender. Jokic should be able to dominate against Kanter. Whether Kanter's out and they decide to put Collins on him or Myers Leonard or Aminu, it's still a really good matchup for Jokic. He's been dominant during the postseason. He was great in that San Antonio series, especially towards the end of the series. He was putting up huge outings, was playing big minutes. I expect that to continue here. Love Jokic even at 10K on DraftKings, even though he's the most expensive player on the slate. I think since Portland's so thin at the center position, they don't have Nurkic. It should be a cupcake spot for Jokic, cupcake matchup to where he could go off again. So at center, he's a priority for me. If you're not paying up for Jokic, then I guess you could look to a guy like Siakam, but I would highly suggest you try and get Jokic if you can. And that Enes Kanter news is definitely something we're going to want to watch. If Kanter's out, Zach Collins probably will start and be a great value at 2,900. Myers Leonard could start. He would become a good value as well. Whichever one starts for Kanter, assuming he misses, will become a really good value play. And if Kanter's able to play, I don't think he's a terrible play either. At 6,100 on DraftKings, he's going to have to play big minutes because he's probably their best shot at slowing down Jokic. So he's a guy you could look to, but like I said, I would highly suggest you just try and fit in Jokic at center if you can. So I think that is it for center, guys. I think that is it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, just make sure you click that like button before you get out of here. I would really appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. If you do have any questions, you can always leave them down in the comment section below, or feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Good luck tonight. Peace.